that and where this strike might be going or maybe not going. With us right now, Sean O'Brien, the Teamsters President, joining us from Washington. Sean, it's always good to see you. Thank you for joining us.
Great to see you as well, sir.
You know, this was all renegotiated, generous provisions here, up to 35% pay raises and the like. This is significantly better than the first deal offered. How do you think it will go? What do you think of it?
Well, I don't know the ins and outs of it, but I know that the members are passionate about getting the best deal they possibly can. And it's good to see that a CEO recognizes that they've got trust issues. And I believe as a result of them being on strike, that, you know, it signifies that there has been a total disregard for those machinists. And, you know, hopefully they got everything they wanted and move forward. When you got $1 trillion in backlog, they need those workers, they need our members, and they need the machinists back to work.
Would you vote yay on this?
I don't know the particulars of the contract. I try not to speak about things like some other people do when they don't have all the facts, but hopefully they got the deal that's going to work for them.
Well, you could never make it as a TV anchor then, Sean. But I'm kidding, of course. Let me get your take on where this whole battle politically stands. You made a lot of news by not endorsing either Joe Biden or Donald Trump, but you made it very clear that your members might strongly feel the other way for Donald Trump. So I know I asked you this at the time of that decision, not to make a decision behind one candidate or the other. Do you regret that you weren't clear of following your workers' wishes, and that is to vote for Donald Trump?
No, we don't regret our decision. We're a pretty autonomous international union. You know, as a general executive board, both candidates weren't specific on a lot of issues that were important to us. So we let the local unions and the joint councils, which are area regional councils, make their decision. And you know, that's what we do. The autonomy is very well respected in this organization.
Well, not by Tim Walz, Kamala Harris's running mate. He had this to say about union leaders who didn't make a commitment for the Democratic ticket. Take a look at this.
These are folks that are directly responsible to their members. And look, their members, some of them split off. The bottom line is, how can you be with a guy who wants to bust a union, is not there to make collective bargaining the right, not to make health care there? So,
but that is the cognitive dissonance that I don't quite understand. So you're talking about
some of those leaders did not show the courage they needed to.
Right.
The vast majority of union leaders showed the courage of backing us.
I think he's saying that you didn't show courage.
Yeah, that's kind of a knucklehead statement. I show courage every single day. Our organization shows courage every day. And to make statements, it's kind of disrespectful to our members and the process. He's talking like an educator, like he is in a classroom teaching a lesson. The lesson that needs to be taught is that our members don't need to be educated. Our members are educated. And that's the problem with this party right now, is they are looking down on our members, saying they need to be educated. What I would do if I was him is actually start talking to our members and find out what the actual problem is. Instead of pointing fingers and looking for excuses, find out what the problem is and create a solution so you gain that support back.
You know, I'd be careful how I quote you here, Sean, but you had said of the Democratic Party, it has effed us over for over 40 years. But over that time, your union has consistently and almost always backed Democrats. So
right,
was this
exactly.
Did this suddenly dawn on you and said, we're sick of it, I'm sick of it? What happened?
No, I think, Neil, I think you know my demeanor. I'm a pretty chill person, but when you're attacking me personally in the organization for listening to our members, you do get fired up. And then, you know, like anything else, we look back at who passed trucking deregulation, who introduced it. We look at who passed NAFTA. We look at bankruptcy reform that never happened. A lot of our agenda wasn't put forth. Look, Joe Biden's been the most pro-union president. I've said it and I'll keep saying it again. However, you know, one issue doesn't define our support and or our members' support. So, yeah, you look back over 40 years and remember this. For the last 16 out of the 20 years, the Democratic Party, and I'm a Democrat, have been in control. We didn't get Employee Free Choice Act when we had a full Senate, Congress, and also a Democratic president. So there's a lot of things that could have been done that haven't been done. And you look right now, people are publicly saying in media forums like CNN and the New York Times that big tech is they're the Democratic supporters. And big tech is threatening a lot of our jobs with automation and AI.
So big tech is the problem. You said that the Democratic Party is in fact bought and paid for by big tech companies. That didn't endear you to many Democratic operatives.
Look, I'm not worried about Democratic operatives. I'm worried about, people doing the right thing. And instead of portraying that for the working people, whether you're a Democrat or Republican, actually prove it by showing it. Something is wrong, and I've stated this time and time again. If 60% of our members are leaning Republican, then it's up to the Republicans to figure out why they're voting that way, Democrats to figure out why our members are voting that way, instead of pointing fingers and looking for excuses. I mean, look, whoever wins this election, they've got to win over working class America. If you're a Democrat, you got to win back the support. If you're a Republican portraying yourself, you want to support working people, you're going to have to prove it. And, I'm not going to sweat people coming at us, with knucklehead comments or anything else. We've got to focus on fixing this country. There's a divide down the middle, and let's not put people in the middle of political parties. Let's fix the problem and work together.
All right, so the way it stands now, we have Kamala Harris and Donald Trump going at it. Are you saying when you talked about Donald Trump or Joe Biden a few minutes ago, if he were the nominee now, would you have committed the union's support behind him?
If who was a nominee?
If Joe Biden were the nominee?
No, I would be in the same spot, I believe. But a lot of our decision was based upon how these answers were answered around our roundtable and the surveys of our members. And look, we've got a lot of issues ahead of us as working class America, and all candidates weren't as strong as they should have been on our issues.
What about Donald Trump? Have you talked to him since that decision, non-decision, whatever you want to call it?
I have not.
How about Kamala Harris?
I have not talked to her.
How about Joe Biden?
Have not talked to Joe Biden.
That says a lot there, right?
Yeah, I don't think I'm on too many Christmas cards lists this year. But
So let's say Donald Trump wins back the presidency. How will that go, you think, for you, for your members?
Well, the one thing that we're going to do, regardless of who wins the president's election, is demand and hopefully get a meeting and make certain that each and every candidate who has promised to be the working people's president, that we hold them accountable. And, there's been a lot of documented potential support on our issues that are important to us. And what's being said and what's being done, we want to hold them accountable. So it doesn't matter who's in there. We're going to try and push our agenda forward either way.
A lot of your members like the idea of tariffs on foreign goods, and Donald Trump plans a lot of tariffs on a lot of foreign goods, particularly Chinese goods. What do you think?
Well, look, I think a lot of the trade agreements in the past that we spoke about previously, like NAFTA, we lost a lot of good American jobs. We lost a lot of good union jobs. We lost manufacturing. I think everybody, regardless, especially if you're in the working class, we want to see manufacturing come back. We want to see creating middle-class jobs. So, I'm not certain about the tariffs. That's going to solve the problem. Let's solve the problem of bringing manufacturing back to the United States, giving people the opportunity to have careers and produce products in this country. I mean, think about the pandemic. There was such a strain on supply chain because a lot of the products that we needed weren't built in this country. And then you look at, the strike that happened a couple of weeks ago with the longshoremen, and thankfully that didn't go on long. But again, if we produced a lot of these products, we'd be in a far better spot of creating jobs and also keeping supply chain moving.
All right, Sean, it's always a pleasure talking to you. There was no nasty language here, right? So that shows progress, right?
No, I never use nasty language with you.
Sean O'Brien, thank you very much. Always good seeing you. He speaks his mind, and we do respect that here. And then he frequently comes on Fox to state that.